experience in the crypto space. I've met him personally in multiple events with the cryptocurrencies as well. I know him really well, and with him on board, I'm definitely sure we're gonna have a great success in the Chrysalis project. Jay, I've given you the permission to speak. I've sent you the request. Once you accept the invite, then you can speak. Guys, the AMA agenda would be simple. Initially, we'll be introducing the advisor, Jay Shah. We'll be asking him some questions. And along the call, if you have, along the AMA, if you have any more questions, you can definitely comment them down and we'll try to answer as much as of them. So the AMA is in two parts. First part is the introduction and the second part would be the Q&A. Thank you. In the meantime, in the last AMA, we had spilled some beans on what's coming next. There was an Easter egg. Did any of you guys figured out what it is? Hey Alex, how are you? Wait 1 second. I'll give you the speaking request as well. Okay, Alex, I've sent you the request to be a speaker. You guys, I'm audible, right? Can somebody confirm in the comment section if I'm audible? No. Am I audible, guys? Cool. I have a request from Terrell to speak. Terrell, I might give you an opportunity to speak once we are on the second part of the AMA, not right now.
I just wanted to ask the same question. Am I audible, guys?
Yes, you are perfectly audible. Uh, Thank you for joining us today, Jay. I hope you're doing well. I know you're in UAE as well.
Yeah, I am. It's exciting to be here. UAE is the place to be right now. Thank you for having me.
Definitely, it is the place to be. Without further ado, why not, Jay? Let's start. Like, can you tell more information about yourself? How's your professional career in the crypto space, and what kind of crypto projects do you advise? Give us a brief intro about yourself.
Yeah, would love to do that. Thank you so much once again. So it's I'm almost nearing a decade in the space. Been in the space for 9 years, and I've kind of worn multiple hats within the Web3 space. Started off as an angel investor and a day trader. Was trading it Bitcoin and Ethereum in the early days in double digits. I've seen these coins at double digits, believe it or not, and I was trading them. And then as I saw the first crypto cycle, then I realized that maybe crypto is here for the long term. And then so buy and hodl strategy was a little bit more what I kind of shifted onto. Started investing into startups as an angel investor, um, and then I kind of invested in the whole ICO stages. It was a good journey for me. One thing led to another. Now I work with multiple different VCs as a venture investor and a venture partner. I work with a fund also in Hong Kong. That's where I grew up actually, and I also am an advisor. So what mainly keeps me busy and and my hands busy and occupied is advising multiple projects, advising founders and helping them grow to the next level. That's what really kind of drives me forward, incubating startups and taking them to the next level. So this is my experience in the crypto space, but before that I was also a founder. I've had one successful exit in a non-crypto space. I used to run a molecular dessert brand, and in my 20s, and I've actually successfully exited that. So, been a one-time founder, and I also have experience with family offices and institutional clients, more in the traditional space, and now ventured into the Web3 space. So, happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Interesting. You've been a founder, you've already had a successful exit, you're working with institutions, you're working with the family office and VC funds based out of Hong Kong. That's a lot. That's a lot in one plate. Anyways, you said that you work with a VC from Hong Kong and you also work with some family offices. Can you give us a brief idea like what the VCs are looking for in the fintech and crypto space right now?
Yeah, so the fund that I'm working with right now is called Mindfulness Capital. I'm a venture partner for this fund, and they're actually very well versed in the industry. They have huge expertise within the Asia Pacific region, and this is a first fund. It's a $15 million fund. It's kind of like sector agnostic. So they're looking to invest in all different verticals from, from the blockchain level to middleware to infra, consumer facing apps, and also like end user games. So their scope of investment is quite wide because eventually we're in a bull run, You don't want to really miss out on opportunities. But at the same time, um, within our lookout and our thesis is also looking at projects that are actual have real utility that can actually be used in the real world. So RWA is one of the biggest narratives, I would say, that we're actually looking forward to. We've invested in a bunch of narratives, but RWA is something that is very exciting for us because it's actually backed by assets at the moment.
De-
And our team is really well
def
diversified across different regions. So we have partners all across the world, all the way from Asia Pacific to we have a team in the North America and also in the Middle East region as well.
Interesting. Would you say that the institutions and VCs across the globe are like really hyped up about the cryptocurrencies nowadays?
Yes, 100%. This is the fastest growing asset class that we've seen, and Bitcoin is the best performing assets in over last 10 years. Nvidia comes close, but Nvidia also kind of falls under Web3 because it's an AI company. So yeah, this is an industry that everyone's got their eyes attached to, eyes glued to. This is the industry that we're very happy to be a part of right now because we're seeing lots of attention towards us, and especially also after the election, Donald Trump wants us to kind of succeed, wants us to be backed by governments as well. So very happy to be in this space actually right now. The momentum has shifted from negative to positive in a very, very fast, not fast, but it's taken 16 years, but yeah, finally, it's about time.
Definitely. I think now everybody understands that it's not only cryptocurrency, but it's the base layer which will be working on multiple different aspects of every industry in the world. Uh, Speaking of multiple industries, I think you've been in this space for past 9 years. Can you give us a brief idea of what kind of projects have you worked in the past?
Yeah, for sure. So I've, my career has kind of spanned nearly less than a decade in the crypto and Web3 ecosystem. Not just working with navigating in the blockchain space. I've also had the thrill of being featured on the Web3 list by Forbes recently. So Community management is something that also goes a really long way. So I've managed communities. I've led real world meetups in Hong Kong where I was a chapter lead for Block Meet, which is a meetup that happens in over 35 different cities with the goal of expanding it to over 100 different countries and cities around the world. So I was the chapter lead for that. I had thousands of people that I would, gather together. Um, and then I worked with Polygon very closely before. Their layer two blockchain within on Ethereum. I've worked with founders hands-on from RWA space, infrastructure, middleware. My experience spans from projects also in layer one solutions, projects that are also focusing on healthcare. DeSci is also uh, a huge narrative right now where we're using AI and blockchain to solve healthcare problems, and biotech is also another field that's advancing towards these things. So I say my experience kind of is has ranges from working with VCs to founders, um, cover covering all that spectrum within this space.
Interesting. Definitely, like Polygon, it is one of the most successful and most early layer 2 chains that I've seen. Uh, of course, you work with family offices that we know. And that's interesting. You work with diverse kinds of projects. And for our listeners, if you don't know DeSci is decentralized science. We will not go into that area, but if you want, you can always check it on Google or any other internet blog that you want. Moving on, Jay, now we are entering an era of RWAs. What do you what excites you about RWAs? Where do you think the industry is heading for the RWAs?
Yeah, extremely excited about about RWAs. RWAs represent one of the most exciting frontiers in blockchain. In fact, it represents one of the most real utility aspects of blockchain. And guess what? It also unlocks $1 trillion opportunity of illiquid market. Um, you know what I mean? If someone understands what that actually means, no one would really be focusing or putting their time anywhere else. RWA is the place to be right now. It offers immense potential to digitize tokens such as real estate, uh, art, wine, commodities, anything that's physical in the real world
Yes.
is basically being put on the blockchain and being tokenized by utility, real world backing. So
Hmm.
um, I can't even stop. Like I'm extremely excited about RWAs, and I'm very happy to even dive in deeper during this conversation.
Definitely, yeah, I think so. Any physical asset can be an RWA, can be tokenized moving forward.
Hi, can you hear me?
From real estate to agriculture. Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Illiquid assets as well. Like tokenization is the only way right now that we can think of where you can have really huge capital into different assets, but it's still not illiquid. Like some places which have real estate and other industries where you put your money, but the money is just stuck. So tokenization is the next way of making these illiquid assets liquid.
Yeah, guys.
Exactly.
Hi, hi all. How are you? Just saying hello,
Hey.
listening
Hey
in.
Alex,
Hi,
how are you?
hi everybody.
Hey Alex, how are you?
Yeah, very
Hi,
good. Thank
Alex.
you.
How are
Yeah,
you?
Very well. Thank you, guys.
for all our listeners, Alex is working hard on multiple things within Chrysalis as well. So definitely good news is coming on your way in the coming days.
Absolutely.
Yep. I think we'll have a few more Easter eggs maybe in today's AMA.
Yeah, I think just to follow on one of the exciting things about RWA and the reason it brings in
Yeah.
this liquidity is the fractionalization of an asset. it democratizes that access. So something that inherently is reserved for, example, you want to invest into an oil field, or you want to invest into high maturing real estate, takes me back to the times of like timeshare, where, you would buy essentially a block of time. In this sense, what the blockchain is doing is giving provenance and title ownership, which means it's irrefutably yours. The follow-on aspects of that is its transferability. I'm able to hold title of an asset, of a fractional asset, and then trade it. And, that's what I think unlocks the true potential of RWA. And then, Jay, as you said, it's about creating a liquid assets in liquid. And there's so many different use cases. Landsfringar in Sweden was one of the first governments project that I worked on with them quite closely, to essentially create all of their land registry on the blockchain. Now, it hasn't been properly utilized, but the next evolution of that is make it tradable. And I think what we're seeing now, which is exciting from traditional finance, is that flow of traditional finance into the Web3 space, which is where obviously RWAs get extremely exciting. One of the other aspects that really excites us at Promax Digital is the tokenization of structured product, bonds. Now you're talking $100+ trillion market. And that's really where, as a business, we're focused. Yes, it takes time. These are things that are in the early days. But as a business, what excites us is creating that structured product, and then being able to tokenize that and democratizing that access, which has been fundamental to all of our projects. And we're going to continue to evolve as the industry evolves to become, a leader and authority in this space. And that's part of the reason, guys, why, we're bringing on the likes of Jay Shaw, we're bringing on likes of Eric, and various other team members that are joining us. There's more coming to take us where we need to be and to really sit at the forefront of the space.
Definitely. I'm pretty sure that all the people that we are bringing in right now, I know them personally, and they're pretty much experienced in their field. So definitely they'll help us make something much bigger.
And Jay, just as you're
Yeah.
here, go on, my friend.
No. Please go on. I was just gonna touch upon something that you said. The, the tokenization point that how RWA just it offers like such a huge potential, offering the next generation of assets being transferred onto a technology that once was regarded as like an experiment, but now is actually revolutionizing and changing the world. Like blockchain facilitates instant settlement, and that's one thing that makes RWA so appealing to others. It enables these assets to move so seamlessly across like these global markets, and that's what makes this so beautiful. So yeah, I'm really excited to work with projects like um, Promax to kind of bring RWA onto the blockchain, because Promax is leading innovation, like Alex just said, at the forefront of this.
Yeah, thank you for that. Um, Nishant, Jay, while we're here and we've got community listening in, if we were to sort of revert to Chrysalis and Promax, Jay, and this might be a question for you that a lot of our community members are interested in. Two things that I'd ask. One is, the role that you're going to be looking to do with us, and two, what drew you to us as an organization?
So what I do, what I feel is my multi-vertical skill set aligns well with Promax, his approach. So Chrysalis, for example, has built such a great reputation on innovation across multiple verticals. One of the projects that I'm really excited to work with is the Fish project, which addresses sustainability, but at the same time tokenizes a market which is contributing to global future global fish food supply. It's being one of the most um, sustainable projects in which it's going to really solve a lot of problems in terms of also like having this overpopulation narrative that we just saw during the pandemic. So fish is definitely one of the most sustainable forms of tokenization, but also what really drew me to this project is having multiple verticals. Like there's also the carbon project, there's Earth Exchange, and all these different verticals really align well with my multiple skill sets. Tokenization of real estate is something that we're also looking at for the future plans. These things are very much the way forward to go. This really aligns with my vision, and I'll be helping bringing in, communities, building communities, doing some bringing in institutional investors for Promax, and just helping them build a strategy, a perfect roadmap, and a marketing plan to achieve these goals with the greater community is something that really excites me going forward.
Yeah, and to resonate with that, guys, part of our strategy moving forward is very much focused on the institutional side, and that goes right through all the way to the product development that Christopher is developing. What we're looking to do is position ourselves not just at the forefront in terms of the innovation of how we're utilizing NFT technology, or certs as we call them, community engagement rewards tokens. What we're really looking to do is bridge the gap as a company and position ourselves right at the cusp of this wave of traditional finance into the crypto Web3 space. And that's really where we're looking, as I said, to position ourselves of what I will pretty much, you can bet your dollar on that we're with the likes of BlackRock and various others who've made very aggressive moves in this space, RWA space. It's just going to start to create an avalanche, and we want to be right at that cusp of where we're not just from a product-centric point of view, from a community point of view, and from a structured point of view, that we are ready to position ourselves. And Jay is going to be coming on along with some others. We're going to have some more announcements as well, of basically bringing that visibility into not just the digital space, but also the traditional finance space, to be able to build and structure our business for the long term value. And that's a very, very important key part in our strategy and product development.
Definitely. That sounds really crucial to bring on people with diverse experiences and diverse industries as we continue to develop Chrysalis into a much larger ecosystem.
Absolutely. And Jay, what brought you on, not just the RWA side, but what do you feel brought you on to Chrysalis and Promax?
So I think what Chrysalis, just for me, working with the right product can be great, but as long as you have a right team is the most important thing. A team without a vision goes nowhere. Working with founders. So when I met with Alex and I met with Shad and I met with the greater team in Abu Dhabi, I was just really inspired to see that, we're all kind of, we all complement each other in the right way. Everyone has their own different skill set. I just felt like me adding on to this team, it just was the right fit, the missing puzzle kind of thing. I was at the same time looking for a project similar to what Promax did, but I was kind of it's almost as if I was kind of manifesting this project 6 months ago without really knowing that it kind of existed. Um, but at the same time, my focus has always been RWA and also multiple vertical. Um, having Chrysalis, Chrysalis embodies this like versatility. It leverages the blockchain to create tangible scaling solutions. Their expertise spans way beyond just RWAs. They also have a great team that has a hub for these diverse blockchain applications. I just feel like it was the right fit for me to help this project to kind of take it to the next level and also work with a team that's so versatile, but at the same time gets along with each other so well. It's just a perfect, seamless family together.
Very good. Nishant, maybe, I don't know, Chris has also been very unwell, but I don't know if he's around, if he wanted to join to maybe give some updates to the community, but I think we're pretty, guys, I hope you appreciate the efforts that we're all putting in as well to be very visible here. We're really trying very hard and getting time in amidst everything we're doing, which is a lot, and bringing that all together into a platform such as Chrysalis, starting from scratch has been a very, very big team effort. And as looking forward as much as I'm sure all of you are to this being able to flourish, and certainly with adding new leaders, recognized thought leaders such as Eric, such as Jay, is only going to propel us, um, as to the already established team we have, into where we want to go. And obviously, you guys are a huge part of that in inspiring us as well, from a community point of view to move the wheel. That being said, Nishan, if there are questions from the community that they do want to answer with us here, in terms of obviously projects, yes, we are going to be coming out. I think we've been quite we've expressed quite a lot about some of the ongoing legal parts. However, happy to as much as we can field any questions that the community have, if there are some, and if not, we can continue having a discussion with Jay about where we're going in terms of our direction.
Definitely. As I said to all the community members, you can definitely ask all your questions in the comment box on the bottom right corner. Um, Other than that, I think we can still continue the first part of this AMA. I still have a few more questions for Jay, and then we will start answering all the questions for the community. Our next
Yes,
question
please.
for you, Jay, is like you already know what we are doing at Chrysalis, but let's say for the next 5 years, where do you think the industry is diverted or pivoted? What do you see? What do you think is the future of RWAs for the next 5 or 10 years?
Sure. So the question was, where do I see RWAs in the next 5 years? Is it?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Honestly, I see um, in the next 5 years, I think the next wave of tokenization will be RWAs, and it will focus on, I think, I particularly think it will be on it will be like four areas primarily, which according to my research or what I truly believe are um, the biggest sectors that need to be tokenized. Real estate, I feel like
Hmm.
going forward, real estate would be the first industry that RWA will tokenize, enabling fractional ownership. So I also see this trend going forward where if people don't want to basically own the entire plot of land, what they can do is through this beautiful technology, we can own a fraction of it. We could own like a tenth of it, or even one part of 1,000 of a land could be owned, depending on your own budget.
Yes.
So I think that fractionalization of real estate is going to be a huge narrative. Another thing I believe RWA will really encompass is carbon credits. So driving environmental and accountability is going to be huge in the future. You know, governments already having strict ESG guidelines. So these things are going to be really in play, and governments are going to double down on these ESG guidelines. So besides real estate and carbon credits, I think private equity is going to be huge because just think about it, like making private investments liquid and accessible
Mhm.
is like the whole game. Like right now in private equity, there's so many assets, but they're all sitting illiquid. Unlocking this opportunity is going to be massive, and it's really going to drive RWA to the next level. And of course, the last bit is going to be art and collectibles, you know? So art and collectible right now are also great, but we see them, like, for example, we saw, like, just a couple of months ago, did you see those protesters or whatever? They got into the Louvre and they spilled soup on the original Mona Lisa.
Yeah,
like we
yeah.
really don't have much insurance. That's paintings worth millions, if not tens or hundreds of millions, you know. And having that kind of one piece irreversible from repair, it just shows that tokenization is the way forward. If we had a digital copy that's backing the physical artwork, I think that's the way it should be, where you can actually have a digital copy where you can go and claim if you ever wanted to, and then get your physical hardware in the future. You know, the claimable option to kind of redeem between a physical and a digital thing forward is going to be another opportunity that RWA unlocks. So I feel like real estate, carbon credits, arts, and of course the whole PE market. These four sectors
Mhm.
are bound to be shaken up by the RWA wave.
Mhm. Definitely. Again,
In the next
continuing on
five
the
years.
news that he shared, the girl that did that, I think she's already jailed. So that's sorted. And when you say private equities, I think it's a multi-trillion dollar market, and if we start tokenizing that, I think it's much more easier to even legalize or regularize that market that's completely unorganized right now for private equities.
Exactly.
And that
Exactly.
also makes it very easier to invest in startups, let's say.
Yeah, so we're kind of in a phase or a stage where Chrysalis is positioned so well in the market where people are still, it's still kind of early where people are still getting being educated about this technology or this asset class RWA, but at the same time we're primed to meet that gap and bridge that gap between Web 2 and Web 3 and make those valuable create value where it's supposed to be made. And joining this project, I feel like we have this unfair advantage of being positioned so early with the solid team to drive this RWA movement, which is really gonna we're gonna see the next 100,000, 2,000 X's in crypto in the RWA space, like we used to see in cycles before. So
Yeah, Jay, the one thing, and good for the community to understand as well. And if any of you here remember, one of Eric's main levels of advice was obviously do your own due diligence, but was patience. And if, given how long we've all been in the space, and the prices or the term and time it took for something like now Bitcoin, the godfather of crypto, to mature, these things take a huge amount of time. And where, I used to have a lot of arguments back in the day. I mean, we're going back, 2009, 2010. People used to say, there's no value or there's no utility in Bitcoin. Why do we need a new monetary system when we've got one that works? My response to that was, have you ever tried sending someone over the other side of the world money on a Sunday? It does have utility in the fact that it also democratized access. Anybody with a mobile handset could now receive funds, huge amount of unbanked still to this day. So there is huge utility in Bitcoin. What we then moved on, and this was the likes of Michael Saylor, who's got, hugely behind it as a legacy system. Michael Saylor is somebody that, is very, very obviously at the forefront of purchasing and made that very, very visible to everyone publicly. But what he said, and I think this was really a big transition where I saw Bitcoin, people starting to understand that utility, and we even had the likes of MicroStrategy and, Musk and various other people buy in, was this concept of essentially digital gold. And what blockchain does very, very well is store value. And I think what Bitcoin did not so well, not so well, it's not really been built as a transaction processing system. It clogs up quickly. You start to have massive pressure on the network the bigger it gets. Blockchain in itself isn't a great speedy transaction system. However, that store of value has been really I think the utility that everybody started to get globally. And then, of course, 5, 6, 7 years in, we are where we are today. Something that was at $3 when I got into now 100,000 is just mind blowing. But it didn't happen overnight. And I think what we're seeing with RWA, even though, guys, we have been a very early mover starting several years ago, we are still yet to find that real huge push. The RWAs are about very, very much, in my opinion, we're about to see a very, very strong emphasis on it. And the reason for that is if you look at it from an institutional point of view, you've always got, first movers, risk takers, the chasm, as it will, and it crosses over into mainstream. And I think what makes things very different from an investment or an opportunity point of view in RWA is its intrinsic value and its tangible value. And I think that's what's going to make RWA even more exciting and valuable than even the likes of Bitcoin, dare I say. But it will take some time. And as Jay said, guys, we are very well positioned as a business, not just in how long we've been doing this, but in terms of the technology we've been building, in terms of the partners we're bringing on, certainly with Promax, and really positioning ourselves at that forefront to ride the RWA wave, which is not far off the horizon.
Definitely. And I think we are at the same stage when you talk about Bitcoin in 2010. It was way ahead of the game and nobody was even thinking about that. I think Chrysalis
Exactly.
is at the same stage with RWAs.
Exactly. And, patience is a virtue.
Yeah, patience is in virtue. Definitely. And yeah, when you talk about transactions, I think there are still many countries where if you send a payment from the US to some Asian countries, some African countries, it will take them several weeks
Oh, yeah.
just to get that payment. And the people there right now, they want to get the payments in cryptos rather than their currency because it's instantaneous.
Absolutely. And it can't be double spent, obviously, as well. So, yeah, and guys, if holding Bitcoin, I know so many people, including myself, that have, think, yeah, because I'm going to got more than this, and, maybe utilized it, sitting and holding it. Look where we are today. So, crypto has changed a lot of people's lives, that's for sure. But Rome wasn't built in the day, and neither is cutting edge projects like this. So I agree with you, Nishant. We are basically sort of similar to that point in 2010, 11, where Bitcoin started to, get a bit more visibility. People, taxi drivers would start talking about it, and that's when you know that you're sort of what I call crossing the chasm. You get your first movers, and then mainstream starts to follow. And I think what's going to be different in the RWA space compared to where we had, Bitcoin, most of this was public driven, institutions, I remember a lot of the time listening to Jamie Dimon, who now, bought Circle, saying, this is a scam. I remember, listening to all the big wigs, basically saying Bitcoin was, a farce. Look where we are now. We've got major institutions creating ETFs for this. So what will be different in the RWA space, I think, the main push is going to come from not just public fractionalization of them getting access, but it's also going to come from traditional finance, and that is going to unlock a much bigger flow of money into these markets, and that's what I think is coming and also exciting.
Definitely, and I think it's not only Chrysalis as a team that is early in the game, the whole community that is already in Chrysalis, they are early in the game, they are early in the RWAs. So it's like holding Bitcoins in 2009.
Absolutely, one could argue that, yes.
To you guys, that it was given by IBM in 1983 and Bitcoin was launched in 2008. So now you have an idea how things take time to develop. But Chrysalis is much faster, that I can say. Uh, moving
Absolutely.
on. Yep, please go ahead, Alex.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Cool. Uh, moving on. Another question for Jay is, Jay, what do you think which countries or organizations will be leading the tokenization industry in the foreseeable future? Will it be countries? Will it be some particular organizations that drive the narrative?
Yeah, I definitely think there will be countries. It's hard to predict the future, but from my research and from what I know right now, my knowledge, I definitely think USA is one of the countries that will be leading the charge. Only because under recent policies, the election going forward, like I just mentioned, Bitcoin blockchain is poised to become a pillar of innovation, is potentially going to make US a global crypto hub. That's what the promises are.
Mhm.
So US also has a huge PE market with real estate. So all of those combined together. But I do believe that we're well positioned because UAE is also a capital and a hub. It attracts Bitcoin innovators from all over the world through tax incentives, ease of business. We've seen organizations like BlackRock and Goldman Sachs and Bitcoin native players like Polygon. They're all shaping up the ecosystem. They're all kind of like uh, based here, at least have some sort of like a presence here. And at the same time, one thing that's really that really interesting to me is I've been researching and reading about the JP Morgan's project recently. I'm not sure if people are aware, but they should look into Onyx. Onyx is JP Onyx is first rise of tokenized treasury bills.
Mhm.
And what does that tell me? That tells me that this is a clear indicator of institutional adoption,
Mhm.
and tokenizing treasury bills and bonds and securities are gaining traction,
Yep.
especially in here before he's even inaugurated and come into office. It's a clear move, and it's a huge bullish event. So these things together, and of course we have Asia, where I grew up, Hong Kong and Singapore. These are places that are also driving growth and innovation. We're going to see a lot of these places that are going to be seeing not just retail institutional adoption, but also like I just mentioned, institutional tokenization as well. So with Chrysalis and uh, being positioned with its new collections and coming out with all these different verticals, with all the information at first hand that we're knowing, it's a clear indicator where RWAs are going in the future and are poised to become a commercial idea, if not now, but it will very soon. So I totally do believe that at least not just RWA, but blockchain adoption in general and crypto adoption is going to become so easy.
Mhm.
Mass adoption is going to be an event where Web2 users are going to be using Web3 technology so seamlessly without even knowing that you're using Web3.
Yep.
It's going to be integrated in your normal Apple Pay and your Ubers and your Amazons and stuff like that. So we're seeing that transition right now, and being well positioned in Web 2.5 right now is actually a great advantage to be at right now.
Definitely. And I think you are from Asia as well, and we've seen the Asian and all these markets. I would say the Asian and Middle East market are a bit quicker to adapt to these new technologies than the US market this time.
Yeah, I agree as well. Um, U.S. We still have a bit of next few months, bumpy months before Gary Gensler signs off. But before that, we'll see a bit of scrutiny. But in the long term, the pathway is clear. You know, we've already gone through a bumpy ride, and now it's time for us to ride it to the moon. But not just provide unnecessarily financial advice, but at the same time educate our community of why it's supposed to be good for us, and spread that awareness before people just start talking about price actions, because we're here to build something long term and unique, and not just have moon boy tactics. We're here with the real world utility, and working with a project like Chrysalis is backing projects with assets that are priceless, that are worth billions and trillions of dollars, if anything. So this is here to stay. It's the real world projects being worked with by a team of driven individuals,
Mhm.
and a great roadmap.
Definitely. And when we talk about this, like tokenization, Bitcoin was adopted by El Salvador and in all these Asian countries like Singapore, Korea, even Middle East and many countries in Europe. Do you think that these tokenization can be a global investment opportunity, or it can go mainstream for as an investment asset, uh, like stocks and funds that we have today?
Of course, wherever there BlackRock doesn't invest anywhere where there's not money to be made, and we all know that, right? So yeah, follow the smart money, follow the Wall Street, follow. Yeah, I would totally say yes.
Mhm. And do you have any advice for new investors who are coming on board to, let's say, the crypto space or the RWA space, who are coming in as an investor? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I advise them to contact us, and we'll help them with whatever they need.
Uh, do
And
do like all things, guys. We're not here to give any advice to anybody. What we're here to do is build technology that allows access, and anybody, not just members of our community that are getting into this. The best thing you can do is your own due diligence and research, and that I think is very, very clear. And especially with things, like smart contracts and the transparency of blockchain, what it's enabled. I still remember talking to a lot of institutions that simply didn't have the expertise to even do due diligence. And a lot of the first movers in any crypto came from the sort of techie side. I should have listened to my developers in 2009. But that I think is very, very clear that people have been able and a chance to not just get information on new exciting things that might be coming out utilizing blockchain, is the ability to essentially do due diligence into a business, whether it's auditing smart contracts, if you understand code, whether it's, looking at the transactions or the amount of holders. There's all kinds of things that are very public facing that allow people to do their own research and due diligence. And it also opens up a huge, uh, you know, there's so many diverse industries that can utilize the blockchain in incredible ways and empowering ways. And that's just going to, anybody that might have industry knowledge in a particular industry that might not be anything to do with crypto still has the ability to look into a project and do deep research and due diligence on it. So that I just want to make, very, very clear
yes.
as mine is do your own.
Mhm. Definitely.
Exactly.
And also,
And just to add on to the what Alex just said, on a serious note, to anyone that's really interested in tokenization or anything like that, I would totally agree with Alex on, this industry is such that where doing your own research is the most valuable piece of advice or information or thing that someone can ever do. the things that you would learn alone or things that you would do by your own research are really priceless. There are things that I've learned that no one could have taught me in this space. And at the same time, always understand regulations, um, regulation is so important. When we entered this space, there was really no regulations. It was completely, filled with scammers. Right now, we're seeing a lot of regulations. Also, pick the right platform. Always ensure there's compliance and scalability. These are, some things that you can. These are some basics that someone can do. Um, and be transparent. Look at applications that have done proper audits, have documentation, stuff that builds investor confidence. Not just looking into projects that are fluff.
Yep.
You look at fundamentals and always do your own research. Regulations and compliance is one of the main things that I would say to look at. And do your homework. Always have long-term thinking while investing into projects. Don't think of a quick rich scheme because there's a lot of meme coins out there where people can have a high risk, high reward ratio. But we're here building something fundamentally strong. So yes, always do your own research and look at regulations and do your homework.
Definitely. I think that advice goes along for any kind of investment opportunity that comes along to anybody, not even in just crypto. Uh, Anyways, moving forward, uh, what do you think, Jay, in the near future, not just for institutions, but for individuals who are holding huge sums of assets, or let's say illiquid assets, it might be a land or real estate property, or some gold mine or anything. Uh, what do you think these people can be, benefit, how these people can benefit from the RWA tokenization?
Hmm. So I feel like again, nothing is financial advice, but just to investors entering the RWA space, they should always study. Firstly, they should always do valuation. It's so important to understand the valuation of your projects before even thinking of tokenization. Land surveys, doing just basic research about your land, making sure your land surveys are clear, doing the valuations, and also instead of having them to kind of take on the pain and tokenizing things themselves, find a good advisor. There's a lot on our teams. We're happy to always advise, but find a good advisor, or at the same time, look at platforms that are already doing tokenization. Some platforms that I can talk about. Let's just say Promax Digital. We'll have our own tokenization platform in the future. So platforms like these, where we have government regulation, where we have our licenses in place, use platforms like these to kind of help you tokenize your assets that we can bring on the blockchain. And at the same time, always stay up to date with the latest transactions that are happening in the space. So these are some advice that I would give, not in a position where I'd give anyone financial advice or anything, but these are just like my personal recommendations to kind of,
Mhm.
yeah, going forward.
Definitely. Uh, Alex, would you like to add anything on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what it does, and there's so many companies that are, very traditional companies that have moved into the tokenization of real world assets. Few interesting ones. Homebase, US based, real estate platform. They made quite a big splash in one of their first real estate-backed NFTs, which represented ownership in a luxury student housing development. I believe it was in Carolina. Um, so that was one angle. ABN AMRO and Siemens were another one. They were issuing digital bonds on public blockchain chains, sorry, and that what it does for them is reduce transactional costs, and it increases the efficiency to traditional bond issuance methods, right? So that would be the main thing. I mean, you've got so many others. Societe Generale is another one that they created RWA collateral vault for S&G. I believe that was through MakerDAO. So we are seeing some big players, and it really is all about fractional ownership of assets. It increases liquidity, across the world. Anyone can enter by enabling smaller investors to purchase and trade an asset that has just been unavailable or too large for them to invest in. You've also got parts of trading them. They're 24/7 markets. It just provides greater accessibility by democratizing those opportunities. If you want to add, you want to add more on that, you've got an immutable record, a decentralized ledger, which comes with all kinds of security benefits. It increases trust, confidence in whatever asset you're selling. And then it allows for an investor, a traditional investor, to diversify their assets. But for me, the key really is they're easier to trade, they're more efficient, they create fractional ownership, which increases liquidity. I mean, it's almost sort of a no-brainer for any company, regardless of what space they're in, to look at tokenization of assets to draw more liquidity and ease of transactions. I mean, that's why I think it's being done by most large organizations as well.
Hmm. Yes, definitely. I think a lot of people are already onto the tokenization bandwagon, and there's a lot happening around the globe. I think people just need to keep themselves updated through different channels, including news channels or any other blogs or anything like that. Moving on, moving on to the second part of AMA. I don't see a lot of questions from the community this time, but there's one question I think that I can direct you to. I can direct to Alexis. What caused the verbiage change from October 4th announcement that stated that Box was rebranding to Chrysalis versus the recent one that says Jason Anderson is the undisputed owner?
Say again, sorry, Nishant, is that directed at me?
Yeah, it's the same. It's a question that why are we saying that that box is earlier we were saying is that box was rebranding to Chrysalis, but now that Jason Anderson is undisputed owner of that box.
Well, he is, and Chrysalis is a completely new platform. There were various reasons for that. We chose and opted to develop a completely new platform. The specifics of that, neither here nor there. So no, we are not rebranding. We opted to develop our own completely fresh new technology. At that point, it became, for us, more sense to go in that direction. That's it.
Okay, cool. So Chrysalis is a completely new platform, guys. Uh, Starting from scratch. So keep in mind, starting something from scratch that takes time. Um, okay. Do we have any more questions, guys? I can stay for one more minute to wait for your questions. Then I would have to close this AMA with ending notes. Uh, okay. In the meanwhile, Alex, do you have any ending notes for today's AMA?
No, I don't. Obviously, we'll look to do more of these. I'll just say again, we encourage people to ask questions. We will answer them to the best of our abilities, and very, very excited. Countdown is starting to launch. We're very, very, very near, and looking forward to a lot of things. There's a lot of events coming up actually in Abu Dhabi that we're proud to be a part of, and looking forward to finally be able to unleash the technology that we've all been working very, very hard on, and continue developing our community. And other than that, I will look forward to doing more of these and having more closer communication with our community.
Any migration expected time that we have? That's one question from the community just now.
Say again, any migration time?
Yeah, like, do we have any expected time that we date that we will migrate on to Chrysalis?
So we're not really essentially migrating. We're developing something new from scratch, which is very, very near to being fully completed. Christopher and a few other devs here have been working very, very hard. A lot of the smart contracts have now gone into audit. They've been completed. There is very little more smart contract work needed to be done. Chris would be able to give you a little more insight into that, which I know he does on a regular basis in our community. So if you're a part of that, he's very, very open and vocal with the the development. We're now in a sort of UI finishing, polishing phase. The migration, there isn't really one. As I said, it's a completely new proprietary technology that we've built. And if people are, I guess, discussing about migration to legacy projects, the 7 projects that we're taking on that everyone knows, we will be providing a 1-to-1 ratio for 1-to-1 for any project that's now launched on the new Chrysalis platform. Those will be honored. I think the block from where we've created the snapshot and the block rate number are there. Everyone knows that. That's going to be honored on a 1-to-1. But there is no migration. It is a totally new technology that's proprietary to us in Promax Digital. So I just want to make that very clear.
Thank you, Alex. Any ending notes from Jay?
Yeah, we will be at Bitcoin Mina next week. So if anyone's in Abu Dhabi, please say hi. Please say come along and say hello to the team. We would love to meet our community and answer any questions in real life. And I would love to meet anyone interested about Chrysalis. I'm very excited to join this project and at the same time do to my best abilities to kind of take Chrysalis to the next level and forge these valuable partnerships for the long term. Yeah, so I would encourage anyone in the community, if they have any questions for me, please reach me out on LinkedIn as well, or this page, Alpha Tree. The Alpha Tree page is about I run my own Web3 consultancy and advisory, and Alpha Tree is also a validator. We validate blockchains, and we also are into tokenization of RWAs. So that's why it's a great synergy between me and Chrysalis going forward, but also the greater team with Alex and everyone as well. So thank you once again for having me here, Nishant. Thanks for hosting this. And yeah, please feel to reach out.
Definitely. Uh, with that, no more questions from the community. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Alex. Welcome again, Jay, to Chrysalis. Welcome to the community.
Thank you.
Welcome to the family.
Thank you. Means a lot to me. Thank
We
you.
hope to work with you in the foreseeable
Yeah,
future.
same here. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. This AMA is recorded. The recording will be shared on the Twitter and links will be shared across all social media channels for you to listen to it later. Thank you and have a good night. And for some people, have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Blessings. Bye.
Blessing.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.